Toxic relationships have a way of draining your energy, breaking your peace, and leaving you feeling stuck in a never-ending cycle of negativity. But what if there was a way to overcome this chaos without losing yourself? In today's video, we're diving deep into the ancient wisdom of Stoicism, a philosophy designed to help you navigate life's toughest challenges with grace and strength. Imagine being able to master your emotions, set firm boundaries, and take back control of your life, no matter how toxic the relationship. From understanding what you can control to letting go when it's time, we'll uncover 11 powerful strategies rooted in Stoic principles to help you reclaim your inner peace and thrive. Stick with us until the end, because the final tip might just completely change the way you approach toxic dynamics forever. This is your chance to take back your power. Don't miss it. Chapter 1. Understand what you can control. One of the most fundamental and liberating principles of Stoicism is the concept of control, understanding what is within your power and what lies beyond it. This philosophy, taught by great Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, is particularly powerful when dealing with toxic relationships. Toxic dynamics are often fueled by a cycle of reaction and conflict. These situations become draining because we feel compelled to fix, change, or control the other person's behavior. But Stoicism reminds us of a crucial truth: you cannot control others, only yourself. In toxic relationships, it's common to fall into the trap of trying to influence the other person. Whether it's convincing them to treat you better, arguing to prove your point, or attempting to change their mindset. However, this only feeds the toxicity. The more energy you invest in trying to control what you cannot, the more frustrated, drained, and powerless you become. The behavior, words, and attitudes of another person are entirely outside your control. They are reflections of their own character, choices, and circumstances, not yours. What you can control, however, is your reaction. This is where your power lies. Every time you encounter negativity, ask yourself, am I feeding this toxicity by engaging with it? If the answer is yes, take a step back. You have the choice to respond differently. Instead of reacting impulsively to hurtful words or actions, practice pausing. Use that moment to reflect on what serves your peace and what doesn't. Reacting calmly, or not reacting at all, isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength and self-mastery. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." In other words, the situation itself isn't as important as your interpretation of it. For example, if a toxic person criticizes you, their words have no real power unless you allow them to affect you. Instead of internalizing the negativity, remind yourself that their behavior is a reflection of them, not you. This shift in perspective can be profoundly freeing. Another key to mastering this principle is letting go of the need for validation. Toxic relationships often thrive when one person seeks approval or acceptance from the other. But relying on external validation places your happiness and self-worth in someone else's hands, a dangerous position to be in. By focusing on what you can control, you reclaim that power. You learn to validate yourself, building confidence that doesn't waver based on someone else's treatment of you. Stoicism also teaches us to accept reality as it is. This doesn't mean tolerating mistreatment or giving up hope for improvement. It means acknowledging the situation for what it is without denial or excessive emotional attachment. Acceptance allows you to approach the relationship with clarity and make decisions that prioritize your well-being. It's about recognizing the limits of your influence and using your energy wisely. Finally, consider how this principle can shift your long-term perspective. Toxic relationships often cloud our judgment, making us feel trapped or helpless. But when you focus solely on what you can control, you regain agency. You realize that your peace, growth, and happiness are not dependent on someone else's behavior. By choosing to act with intention and self-awareness, you create space for healthier dynamics and greater emotional freedom. In summary, understanding what you can control is a cornerstone of Stoicism and a game-changer in dealing with toxic relationships. You can't control someone else's actions, attitudes, or words, but you can control how you respond, what you tolerate, and where you direct your energy. By shifting your focus inward, you empower yourself to rise above the toxicity and reclaim your peace. Chapter 2. Practice emotional detachment. In toxic relationships, emotions often run high, creating an endless cycle of frustration, anger, and hurt. It's easy to feel overwhelmed when you're caught in the storm of someone else's negativity. However, one of the most empowering lessons from Stoicism is the art of emotional detachment. As Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle is not about becoming cold or indifferent, but about learning to view situations objectively and respond with clarity instead of reacting impulsively. Emotional detachment begins with understanding the distinction between emotions and actions. Emotions are natural. They arise from our thoughts, experiences, and interactions with others. However, they don't have to dictate our behavior. Toxic individuals often provoke reactions because they thrive on chaos and control. They may use manipulation, criticism, or guilt to draw emotional responses from you. When you react impulsively, you give away your power. Detachment allows you to break this cycle by pausing and assessing the situation before responding. To practice emotional detachment, start by observing your emotions without judgment. When someone says or does something hurtful, acknowledge your feelings but avoid letting them consume you. Ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? Is this reaction helpful? What can I do to maintain my peace? This self-awareness helps you separate the emotion from the action, giving you the clarity to respond constructively. Marcus Aurelius's advice to focus on your mind reinforces the idea that you control your inner world, even if you can't control the external one. Toxic people may try to drag you into their emotional turbulence, but you can choose not to participate. Think of yourself as a calm observer rather than an active participant in their drama. By doing so, you maintain your composure and protect your emotional energy. It's also important to understand that emotional detachment is not indifference. You can care for someone while still detaching from their negativity. Detachment means creating a mental boundary between yourself and the toxic behavior. It's about saying, I will not let this affect my peace, no matter how much I care. This boundary helps you avoid being swept away by the other person's emotions while still showing compassion when appropriate. One effective way to strengthen emotional detachment is through reframing. Toxic individuals often use words or actions to provoke guilt, shame, or anger. Instead of internalizing their behavior, reframe the situation. Remind yourself that their actions are a reflection of their struggles, not your worth. For example, if someone criticizes you unfairly, instead of taking it personally, recognize that their criticism likely stems from their own insecurities or unhappiness. This shift in perspective allows you to remain calm and unshaken. Another tool for practicing detachment is focusing on facts rather than assumptions. Toxic relationships often involve miscommunication and distorted perceptions. When emotions run high, it's easy to make assumptions about the other person's intentions or actions. Instead, ground yourself in the facts. Ask yourself, what actually happened? What do I know for sure? Am I creating a narrative that fuels my emotional response? By sticking to the facts, you minimize unnecessary emotional turmoil. Detachment also requires learning to accept that you cannot change others. Toxic individuals may not see the harm in their behavior or may be unwilling to change. Holding on to the hope of changing them only prolongs your suffering. Instead, focus on what you can control: your actions, thoughts, and choices. Accepting the situation as it is doesn't mean you condone the behavior. It means you free yourself from the burden of unrealistic expectations. Finally, emotional detachment involves practicing self-care and mindfulness. Toxic relationships can drain your energy and cloud your judgment, making it harder to detach emotionally. Regular self-care practices, such as meditation, journaling, or spending time in nature, can help you stay grounded. Mindfulness, in particular, trains you to live in the present moment, reducing the tendency to dwell on past conflicts or future anxieties. In summary, emotional detachment is a powerful tool for navigating toxic relationships. It allows you to maintain your peace, respond thoughtfully, and protect your energy without becoming indifferent. By observing your emotions, reframing situations, and focusing on what you can control, you free yourself from the toxic influence of others. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, your strength lies in your ability to govern your mind, not the actions of others. Through emotional detachment, you reclaim that strength and create a space for growth, clarity, and peace in your life. Chapter 3. Set firm boundaries. In any relationship, boundaries serve as the invisible lines that define what is acceptable and what isn't. They protect your emotional, mental, and even physical well-being. In toxic relationships, however, these boundaries are often tested, ignored, or outright violated. This makes setting and enforcing firm boundaries not only essential, but an act of self-preservation. Stoicism, with its emphasis on self-respect and discipline, offers invaluable guidance in maintaining your limits without guilt or hesitation. At its core, Stoicism teaches us to value ourselves, our time, and our peace. When dealing with toxic individuals, it's easy to fall into the trap of over-accommodating or tolerating harmful behavior out of fear of conflict, guilt, or a desire to keep the relationship intact. However, this comes at a high cost to your well-being. Setting boundaries is a way of reclaiming your power and showing yourself the respect you deserve. It's not about controlling the other person, but about defining how you will allow yourself to be treated. Communicating your boundaries can be challenging, especially with someone who thrives on overstepping them. However, politeness and firmness are key. For example, if someone frequently interrupts your personal time with demands or complaints, calmly let them know, "I need this time to recharge. Let's talk later when I'm available." This approach is respectful, but also establishes your limit. It conveys that while you value the relationship, your peace and time are non-negotiable. A common struggle in setting boundaries is the guilt that often follows. Toxic individuals may attempt to manipulate you into feeling selfish or uncaring for prioritizing yourself. This is where Stoic philosophy becomes a powerful tool. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what is within our control and to let go of the opinions of others. You cannot control how someone reacts to your boundaries, but you can control your decision to stand by them. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's an act of self-respect and a necessary step toward maintaining your mental and emotional health. Another important aspect of boundary setting is consistency. Toxic individuals are often persistent in testing limits. If you waver or give in, they may interpret this as a sign that your boundaries are flexible. Enforcing boundaries requires consistency in your actions. For instance, if you've established that you won't tolerate disrespectful language, ensure that you address it every time it occurs. This consistency reinforces the message that your limits are serious and non-negotiable. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of self-discipline, which plays a critical role in maintaining boundaries. There will be moments when it's tempting to overlook boundary violations for the sake of avoiding conflict or maintaining harmony. However, every time you compromise your boundaries, you erode your sense of self-worth and give the toxic individual more power over you. Self-discipline allows you to prioritize your long-term well-being over short-term discomfort. In addition to protecting your peace, boundaries also create clarity in relationships. They establish expectations and eliminate confusion about what is acceptable. This clarity benefits both parties, even if the toxic individual initially resists. Over time, consistent boundaries can help reduce conflict and improve communication, as they set clear parameters for interactions. One of the most empowering aspects of boundary setting is that it shifts the focus back to your own agency. In toxic relationships, it's easy to feel powerless or at the mercy of the other person's behavior. Boundaries remind you that you have control over your choices and actions. By deciding what you will and won't tolerate, you reclaim your sense of autonomy and create a space where you can thrive. It's also important to recognize that boundaries may sometimes result in pushback or even the loss of the relationship. While this can be painful, it's a necessary part of the process. Stoicism teaches us to accept what we cannot change and to prioritize our values. If someone refuses to respect your boundaries, it's a clear indication that the relationship is unhealthy. Letting go of such relationships, though difficult, opens the door to healthier connections that honor your worth. In summary, setting firm boundaries is an essential practice for navigating toxic relationships. It is a way of valuing yourself, protecting your peace, and asserting your needs. By communicating your limits clearly, enforcing them consistently, and letting go of guilt, you create a foundation for healthier interactions and greater self-respect. Remember, as a Stoic, your primary responsibility is to your own well-being and growth. Boundaries are not barriers. They are bridges to a life of clarity, peace, and self-mastery. Chapter 4. Don't take things personally. In toxic relationships, one of the most common traps we fall into is taking things personally. Whether it's hurtful words, manipulative behavior, or unwarranted criticism, toxic individuals have a way of making us feel as though their actions are a direct reflection of our value or character. However, Stoicism teaches us a liberating truth. Their behavior is not about you. It's about them. As Epictetus wisely said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Understanding and embracing this principle can help you remain calm, composed, and unaffected by their negativity. Toxic people often project their own insecurities, fears, and unresolved issues onto others. This projection isn't a conscious act in most cases. It's a coping mechanism that allows them to avoid addressing their internal struggles. For instance, someone who constantly belittles you may be battling their own feelings of inadequacy. Their criticism is not a reflection of your worth, but of their inability to confront their own shortcomings. Recognizing this can help you detach emotionally and avoid internalizing their behavior. When you take things personally, you give others unnecessary power over your emotions. You allow their negativity to infiltrate your peace, and you may begin to question your self-worth. Stoicism encourages us to reclaim this power by shifting our perspective. Instead of thinking, "Why are they treating me this way?" remind yourself, their actions are a reflection of who they are, not who I am. This subtle but profound shift in mindset can shield you from emotional harm. To practice not taking things personally, start by cultivating self-awareness. When someone says or does something hurtful, pause and reflect before reacting. Ask yourself, is this really about me or is it about them? What is driving their behavior? In most cases, you'll find that their actions stem from their internal struggles rather than anything you've done. This awareness creates a buffer between their negativity and your emotional state, allowing you to respond calmly instead of reacting defensively. Stoicism also teaches us the importance of focusing on what we can control. You cannot control how others behave, but you can control how you perceive and respond to their actions. For example, if a toxic person insults you, recognize that their words only have power if you allow them to. You have the choice to let their negativity roll off you like water off a duck's back. This isn't about ignoring their behavior, it's about refusing to let it define or diminish you. Another valuable practice is reframing the situation. Instead of viewing a toxic person's actions as an attack on you, see it as an expression of their pain. For instance, if someone lashes out in anger, remind yourself that their outburst likely stems from frustration, stress, or insecurity. This reframing doesn't excuse their behavior, but it helps you understand it without personalizing it. When you stop taking things personally, you also stop feeding the toxic dynamic. It's equally important to build a strong sense of self-worth. Toxic relationships often chip away at our confidence, making us more susceptible to taking things personally. By cultivating self-esteem through self-care, positive affirmations, and personal growth, you create a foundation of inner strength. When you know your worth, you're less likely to let someone else's negativity shake you. Another powerful Stoic principle to remember is the practice of indifference. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about treating insults and praise with equal detachment. Whether someone admires or criticizes you, it doesn't change who you are. Their opinion is just that, an opinion, not an objective truth. Adopting this mindset can help you stay grounded and unaffected by both toxic criticism and undue praise. Lastly, remember that not taking things personally doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior. You can acknowledge that someone's actions are about them while still holding them accountable and setting boundaries. Stoicism doesn't ask us to be passive, it asks us to be intentional. By refusing to internalize someone else's negativity, you protect your peace while still addressing issues in a constructive way. In summary, the ability to not take things personally is a cornerstone of resilience in toxic relationships. It allows you to maintain your sense of self-worth, stay emotionally grounded, and rise above the negativity. Toxic people may project their struggles onto you, but their actions are a reflection of who they are, not who you are. By embracing this perspective and practicing detachment, you free yourself from the emotional weight of their behavior and reclaim your inner peace. Chapter 5. Master the Art of Silence. In many situations, the most powerful response is no response at all. Stoicism, the ancient philosophy of wisdom, self-control, and virtue, teaches us the importance of mastering our reactions. Toxic relationships, in particular, thrive on emotional escalation. Toxic individuals often provoke others, seeking to trigger a reaction, whether it's anger, frustration, or defensiveness. But by choosing silence over a response, you effectively take away their power to control the conversation, preserve your own peace, and prevent the cycle of negativity from continuing. When you remain silent in the face of conflict, you are asserting emotional control and refusing to allow someone else's behavior to dictate your emotional state. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what is within our control, and how we respond to toxic people is entirely within our control. Toxic individuals may try to provoke you, but your decision not to engage denies them the satisfaction of your reaction. Silence allows you to preserve your energy and avoid feeding into unnecessary conflict, which can often escalate and drain you emotionally. Silence also acts as a shield against further toxicity. When you choose not to react, you interrupt the toxic dynamic. Rather than participating in back-and-forth arguments, name-calling, or manipulation, you create emotional distance. This gives you the space to reflect calmly without getting swept up in the drama. It also denies the toxic person the emotional fuel they need to keep their behavior going. By withholding a reaction, you stop the cycle and protect your well-being. The Stoic approach to silence doesn't imply passivity or weakness. On the contrary, it requires strength and self-control. Responding with silence is often more challenging than reacting with anger or frustration, but it allows you to stay true to your values. Instead of responding impulsively, you take a step back and make a deliberate choice not to engage. This practice of measured silence aligns with the Stoic virtue of temperance, allowing you to manage your emotions with wisdom rather than letting them manage you. Moreover, silence can communicate far more than words ever could. In some situations, responding with silence is the most dignified and powerful statement you can make. It shows that you are not willing to be dragged into petty arguments or emotional manipulation. It demonstrates emotional intelligence as you refuse to lower yourself to the level of toxicity. It sends a message that you value your peace and will not tolerate behavior that disrupts it. The beauty of silence lies in its ability to put you in control of your emotional state. By refusing to respond, you prevent the toxic person from invading your emotional space. They may continue to speak or act in a way that is hurtful, but your silence shows that their actions no longer have the power to disturb your inner peace. Silence isn't about avoidance, it's about preserving your strength and choosing to disengage from negativity in order to protect yourself. This practice helps you maintain a sense of clarity and composure, even when confronted with challenging people or situations. In conclusion, mastering the art of silence is a critical tool for navigating toxic relationships. It allows you to preserve your energy, protect your emotional well-being, and assert control over your responses. Silence isn't a sign of weakness. It is a strategic choice that reflects emotional wisdom and self-respect. By refusing to engage in unnecessary conflict, you deny toxic people the satisfaction of a reaction, which is often the only victory they seek. In doing so, you maintain your peace and demonstrate the strength to rise above the toxicity around you. Chapter 6. Focus on your purpose. Toxic relationships can easily derail your sense of direction, clouding your judgment and pulling you away from what truly matters. Whether it's a toxic friendship, family member, or romantic partner, these relationships have a way of demanding your attention and energy, often leaving you feeling drained and uncertain. The key to managing and navigating these relationships lies in staying connected to your purpose and values. Stoicism offers a powerful reminder: when you remain aligned with your purpose, you can resist the distractions of toxicity and maintain focus on what truly matters. The first step in focusing on your purpose is to reflect deeply on what that purpose is. What are your long-term goals? What do you value most in life? It could be personal growth, contributing to others, pursuing your passions, or building meaningful relationships. When you are grounded in these core values, it becomes easier to filter out the noise of toxic relationships. You learn to identify which people or dynamics align with your purpose and which ones divert your energy away from your true path. Stoicism teaches us that external circumstances, such as toxic relationships, are not in our control, but our reactions to them are. By constantly reminding yourself of your purpose, you create a solid foundation that helps you detach from the emotional pull of toxic interactions. These relationships may try to pull you off course, but when you are anchored in your values, it becomes easier to distance yourself from them. In fact, staying aligned with your purpose gives you the strength to set clear boundaries and make decisions that protect your peace and progress. Toxic relationships often thrive on drama, manipulation, and emotional chaos. These individuals may try to pull you into their whirlwind, leaving you feeling confused and distracted. However, when you are grounded in your purpose, you have a clear sense of what matters most and can prioritize that over the turbulence created by toxic people. By focusing on your purpose, you shift your energy from reacting to negativity toward proactively moving toward your goals. You stop getting caught up in the toxicity and instead focus on the things that help you grow and flourish. Furthermore, focusing on your purpose helps you avoid the trap of self-doubt that toxic relationships often breed. Toxic individuals may try to undermine your confidence, make you question your worth, or manipulate your actions. But when you have a strong sense of purpose, you are less likely to fall prey to these tactics. Your purpose becomes your compass, guiding you through challenges and distractions. It allows you to stay focused on what truly brings fulfillment and joy, rather than getting caught in the web of someone else's negativity. A Stoic approach encourages us to rise above external disturbances by focusing inward on what we can control: our thoughts, actions, and intentions. When you are aligned with your purpose, you develop a resilience to external disruptions. Toxic relationships can no longer define your emotional state or direct your decisions because you are focused on a greater mission. By keeping your eyes on your long-term goals, you maintain clarity and avoid being swayed by temporary challenges or toxic behavior. Lastly, staying focused on your purpose empowers you to take intentional action. Rather than allowing toxic relationships to control your life, you choose to invest your time and energy in areas that align with your true values. This sense of purpose becomes your motivation, driving you to make better decisions and create a life that reflects your deepest aspirations. In doing so, you begin to naturally distance yourself from toxic influences and surround yourself with people and environments that nourish your growth and well-being. In conclusion, focusing on your purpose is a critical strategy in dealing with toxic relationships. When you stay grounded in your values, you can easily distinguish between what deserves your time and attention and what needs to be let go of. By remaining aligned with your purpose, you protect yourself from the distractions and emotional turmoil that toxic individuals create. Your purpose serves as a guiding light, helping you rise above negativity and stay focused on what truly matters in your life. Chapter 7. Practice gratitude. It may seem counterintuitive, but practicing gratitude can be one of the most effective ways to deal with toxic relationships. When we're stuck in a toxic relationship, it's easy to become consumed by negativity, feeling hurt, frustrated, and drained. However, gratitude allows us to reframe these experiences, shifting our focus from what's wrong to what's valuable. Instead of simply seeing the relationship as a source of pain, gratitude helps us recognize the lessons it brings, such as resilience, patience, and self-worth. Gratitude encourages us to reflect on the growth that comes from enduring hardship. Toxic relationships can often test our limits, but they also present opportunities for us to become stronger. For example, you might develop greater emotional resilience, learning to handle difficult situations without losing your composure. These challenges can teach you how to stay calm, how to assert boundaries, and how to protect your peace, which are invaluable skills in any relationship. By practicing gratitude, you begin to see these challenges as opportunities for self-improvement, rather than just negative experiences to endure. Another key aspect of gratitude is that it helps us build patience. Toxic individuals can provoke intense emotional reactions, pushing us to the edge. But when we embrace gratitude, we start viewing these situations as opportunities to practice emotional control. Gratitude helps us focus on the lessons of patience, teaching us that responding with grace in the face of conflict is often more powerful than reacting impulsively. It also helps us recognize that we are in control of our emotional responses, no matter how others behave. Moreover, gratitude helps us reconnect with our sense of self-worth. Toxic relationships often involve criticism, manipulation, or emotional neglect, which can erode our confidence. But when we practice gratitude, we begin to focus on our own strengths and qualities rather than the negative behavior of the other person. We become grateful for our ability to recognize toxicity and to take the necessary steps to protect ourselves, whether that means setting boundaries or distancing ourselves from harmful influences. This shift in focus helps us affirm our self-worth, reinforcing the belief that we deserve respect and healthy relationships. Gratitude also shifts our focus away from the toxicity and towards the positive aspects of our lives. Toxic relationships can make us feel isolated, overwhelmed, or stuck. But when we practice gratitude, we start recognizing the other things in our lives that bring us joy, fulfillment, and peace. Whether it's supportive friendships, personal accomplishments, or simple moments of serenity, gratitude helps us appreciate the good things that we might otherwise overlook. This shift in focus not only helps us feel more balanced, but also reminds us that toxic people don't define our happiness. We can choose where to place our energy, and by focusing on gratitude, we create space for more positive experiences in our lives. Finally, gratitude supports emotional detachment. Toxic people often thrive on eliciting strong emotional reactions, such as anger or sadness. But gratitude allows us to detach from the emotional pull of the situation. By focusing on the lessons learned and the growth we've experienced, we can let go of resentment and negative emotions. This emotional detachment doesn't mean we disregard our feelings, but rather it means we choose not to let the toxicity control our emotional state. We take back our power and maintain our peace, no matter the external circumstances. In conclusion, gratitude is a powerful tool for transforming our response to toxic relationships. It allows us to see the valuable lessons that come from these experiences, helping us develop resilience, patience, and a deeper sense of self-worth. By shifting our focus from the negative to the positive, we foster a healthier mindset that empowers us to navigate difficult relationships with greater peace and emotional strength. Practicing gratitude helps us reclaim control over our emotions, detach from the toxicity, and focus on the things that truly matter in our lives. Chapter 8. Surround yourself with positive people. In the wise words of Seneca, associate with people who are likely to improve you. This powerful insight serves as a reminder that the relationships we cultivate play a significant role in shaping our lives. When we find ourselves trapped in toxic relationships, it can be easy to feel isolated, disconnected, and drained. Toxic individuals often manipulate or undermine our confidence, making us question our self-worth. However, one of the most effective ways to counteract this negative influence is by surrounding ourselves with positive, supportive people who encourage our growth and remind us of what healthy relationships should look like. Toxic relationships thrive in environments of isolation. When we are cut off from supportive individuals, the toxic person often becomes the primary source of our emotional energy. In these situations, it's crucial to build a strong support system, people who uplift, inspire, and remind us of our value. Positive friends, family, and mentors provide not only emotional support, but also a healthy perspective. They can help us stay grounded and focused on our well-being, offering advice, or simply being there to listen. When we lean on people who genuinely care for us, we gain the strength to navigate through toxic situations with more resilience and clarity. The people we surround ourselves with directly influence our emotional and mental state. Positive relationships serve as mirrors, reflecting our own strengths and potential. These individuals act as reminders of what it means to be treated with respect, kindness, and consideration. They encourage us to grow and challenge us in ways that are empowering, helping us develop better emotional intelligence, greater self-worth, and a deeper understanding of what healthy relationships should feel like. By regularly engaging with these people, we build a healthier mindset, which makes it easier to recognize and detach from toxic behaviors in others. Having positive influences in your life is not just about gaining external support, it's also about fostering your own sense of self-worth. When we are surrounded by people who believe in us and inspire us to be the best versions of ourselves, we start to internalize their positive energy. Their belief in our potential serves as a reminder that we deserve relationships that nurture us rather than drain us. As you build connections with those who support and empower you, your own sense of self-respect and confidence will grow stronger, making it easier to set boundaries with toxic individuals. Additionally, positive people can offer a valuable outside perspective when we're caught up in a toxic relationship. It can be difficult to see clearly when we're emotionally involved, but a supportive friend or mentor can provide clarity and help us see the situation from a fresh angle. They can help us recognize patterns of behavior we might have overlooked or offer strategies for disengaging from toxic dynamics. These people become sounding boards, offering guidance that helps us make more informed, healthier decisions. Moreover, positivity is contagious. The more you surround yourself with uplifting and empowering people, the more you'll begin to absorb their optimism and resilience. Their energy will help you maintain your peace of mind, even in the face of adversity. Positive people will encourage you to stay focused on your goals, remind you of your worth, and inspire you to keep moving forward, no matter how challenging the toxic relationship may be. This renewed sense of optimism will help you stay connected to your sense of purpose and guide you toward healthier, more fulfilling interactions. It's important to note that building a positive support system takes effort. It requires you to actively seek out relationships that nurture and encourage you. This may mean distancing yourself from people who don't contribute positively to your life, including those who may be complicit in toxic dynamics. Surrounding yourself with positivity requires discernment and courage, but the rewards are invaluable. A supportive circle of people will help you thrive emotionally, mentally, and even physically, providing a foundation for long-term well-being. In conclusion, surrounding yourself with positive people is one of the most powerful ways to counterbalance the impact of toxic relationships. When we build a strong support system, we protect our mental health, reinforce our sense of self-worth, and gain the emotional resilience needed to deal with challenging situations. Positive people help us see the beauty in ourselves and the world, guiding us toward healthier choices and reminding us of what truly matters. By investing in these relationships, we create an environment where growth, peace, and fulfillment can flourish, ultimately empowering us to disengage from toxicity and cultivate the life we deserve. Chapter 9. Avoid escalation. Toxic individuals often thrive on drama and conflict. Their behavior is driven by the need to stir up emotions, provoke reactions, and maintain control over the situation. The more chaos they create, the more they feel empowered. This is why, in the face of toxicity, it's crucial to follow a Stoic principle: avoid escalation. Stoicism teaches us that the most effective way to protect our peace is by not allowing ourselves to be drawn into unnecessary battles. Instead of engaging in the cycle of anger, blame, or defensiveness, we must learn to disengage calmly and respond with composure. By doing so, we not only preserve our emotional equilibrium, but also expose the toxic behavior for what it truly is: manipulation and emotional provocation. The first key to avoiding escalation is awareness. Toxic individuals often rely on the emotional reactions of others to fuel their behavior. Whether through insults, guilt trips, or manipulative tactics, they attempt to provoke you into a defensive or emotional state. Recognizing this is the first step in gaining control over how you respond. Rather than letting the situation dictate your emotions, take a step back and acknowledge that you are in control of your reaction. The Stoic mindset teaches that while we can't control others' actions, we can always control our own responses. By choosing not to react impulsively, you deny the toxic person the satisfaction of seeing you upset or defensive. When you avoid escalating arguments, you stop feeding the drama that toxic individuals thrive on. In many cases, toxic behavior is designed to provoke an emotional response, and when you refuse to participate in that game, you rob them of their power. Think of it as breaking the cycle. The more you stay composed, the less they have to work with. Instead of being sucked into an emotional exchange, remain calm, measured, and composed. This not only protects your inner peace, but also sends a clear message that you will not engage in unnecessary conflict. The less you escalate, the more you strip the toxic behavior of its influence over you. Furthermore, responding with composure can highlight the true nature of the toxic behavior. When you stay calm in the face of provocation, you're showing others around you, and even the toxic person, that the argument is unworthy of your time and energy. Often, toxic individuals expect a chaotic emotional response that fuels the fire. When this doesn't happen, they may begin to feel exposed. Their tactics of emotional manipulation or disruption are ineffective, and the situation loses its power. This response brings clarity to the situation and often reveals the toxicity of the other person, not through confrontation, but through quiet strength. One of the most powerful tools in avoiding escalation is simply disengaging from the argument altogether. Stoicism teaches that there is wisdom in choosing silence or walking away when a conversation is going nowhere. In these moments, it's not about winning the argument or defending yourself against unfair accusations. It's about protecting your energy and your peace. When you disengage from a toxic person, you prevent the conflict from escalating and give yourself the space to breathe. Walking away is not a sign of weakness but of strength, as it shows that you recognize the futility of engaging further and choose to protect your emotional well-being instead. By avoiding escalation, you also model emotional maturity. Toxic individuals often want to drag you into their chaotic world, but when you refuse to engage, you demonstrate that you are emotionally grounded and able to remain unaffected by drama. Your composed response sets a powerful example for others, showing that it's possible to deal with conflict without getting caught up in emotional turmoil. This not only benefits your own peace, but can also influence the environment around you. Over time, others will learn from your example and may even begin to respond in a similar way, creating a more positive and constructive atmosphere. In conclusion, the Stoic practice of avoiding escalation is one of the most effective ways to protect your peace and disarm toxic behavior. By recognizing when you're being baited into conflict and choosing not to engage emotionally, you not only shield yourself from negativity, but also expose the toxic behavior for what it truly is. Responding with composure, disengaging when necessary, and refusing to feed into the drama allows you to maintain control over your emotions and create a healthier space for yourself and those around you. In the end, avoiding escalation doesn't mean running from conflict. It means choosing peace and clarity over chaos. Chapter 10. Learn when to let go. In the pursuit of wisdom and tranquility, one of the most important lessons Stoicism offers is the ability to recognize when it's time to let go of relationships that no longer serve you. Not every relationship can or should be saved. Stoicism teaches us that our primary responsibility is to cultivate a life of virtue, peace, and emotional resilience. And sometimes that means walking away from relationships that consistently disrupt these values. While we may be inclined to hold on to relationships out of attachment, fear of loneliness, or the hope that things will improve, Stoic wisdom reminds us that tolerating harm for the sake of attachment only robs us of our peace and growth. The first step in learning when to let go is recognizing the signs that a relationship has become toxic or harmful. A relationship that once brought joy, support, and love may evolve into one filled with manipulation, resentment, or emotional draining. In such cases, continuing to invest energy into the relationship can compromise your emotional well-being and peace of mind. Stoicism encourages us to evaluate relationships not based on sentimentality or external expectations, but on whether they align with our values and contribute positively to our lives. If a relationship consistently undermines your inner tranquility, undermines your self-worth, or leads you to act in ways that conflict with your principles, it may be time to step back. Another critical aspect of letting go involves the recognition that we cannot control the actions or decisions of others. No matter how much we may want to fix, heal, or change someone, Stoicism teaches us that we can only control our own responses. When you find yourself in a relationship where the other person's behavior consistently causes harm, whether emotional, mental, or even physical, choosing to stay out of a sense of duty, guilt, or fear of change is a form of self-sabotage. Letting go is an act of self-respect. It is recognizing that you deserve peace, respect, and healthy interactions. The Stoic concept of apatheia, or freedom from emotional disturbance, can be achieved not only by detaching from toxic influences, but also by having the courage to leave situations that are beyond repair. It's important to understand that letting go doesn't mean failure or weakness. In fact, it requires immense strength to walk away from relationships, especially those we may have invested significant time and energy into. Often, we feel obligated to hold on to relationships out of a sense of loyalty or duty. However, Stoicism teaches us that our duty is to ourselves first and foremost, to protect our peace and live virtuously. By letting go of relationships that no longer contribute positively to our lives, we make room for growth, healing, and the opportunity to form healthier connections in the future. Letting go also involves accepting the reality of impermanence. All relationships evolve, and not all of them are meant to last forever. There may come a time when a relationship has served its purpose, whether it has taught us valuable lessons, brought us joy, or allowed us to grow in some way. However, just as relationships can help us grow, they can also prevent us from evolving if they become toxic. Stoic wisdom reminds us that everything in life is temporary, and clinging to what no longer serves us can prevent us from experiencing the peace and tranquility we deserve. Recognizing when a relationship has run its course and letting go gracefully allows us to embrace the future with open arms, free from the burdens of the past. In the end, letting go of a toxic relationship is an act of self-care and self-preservation. Stoicism teaches us that our peace, integrity, and virtue must come first, even if it means making the difficult decision to walk away. By letting go, we honor ourselves and create space for healthier, more fulfilling relationships that align with our values and contribute to our growth. It's not about giving up. It's about choosing to preserve your peace and focus on what truly matters. In this way, letting go is not a defeat. It's the ultimate act of strength, wisdom, and self-love. Chapter 11. Reflect and Grow. The Stoic philosophy places a high value on the power of reflection as a tool for growth and personal development. After navigating a toxic relationship, one of the most transformative steps you can take is to reflect on the experience. Stoicism teaches us that challenges are opportunities for growth, and reflection allows us to mine wisdom from even the most difficult situations. By thoughtfully examining what happened, how you responded, and what you learned, you can turn the turmoil of toxic relationships into a valuable lesson for the future. Reflection is not just about analyzing the past, it's about cultivating the ability to learn and evolve from it. Journaling is one of the most effective ways to engage in Stoic reflection. The practice of writing down your thoughts and emotions allows you to process your feelings with clarity and distance. It gives you the space to express your emotions without judgment, helping to separate your immediate reactions from deeper insights. By regularly journaling, you create a record of your thoughts, enabling you to track patterns in your behavior, emotional responses, and interactions. This can help you identify recurring dynamics in toxic relationships, such as triggers or patterns of manipulation that you might have overlooked while caught up in the emotional chaos. Understanding these patterns is key to breaking the cycle and preventing similar situations in the future. In addition to emotional processing, reflection through journaling can help you assess how you handled the situation. Did you remain composed? Were there moments where you could have responded differently? Did you set boundaries, or did you allow yourself to be drawn into unnecessary conflict? Stoicism encourages us to evaluate our actions without self-criticism, recognizing that growth comes from understanding and improving ourselves, rather than focusing on mistakes. Through this lens, you can see areas where you exhibited strength and areas where you can improve. By observing your responses objectively, you can gain greater insight into how you can handle future challenges with greater wisdom and emotional resilience. Reflection also offers an opportunity to examine the lessons you've learned from the experience. Toxic relationships often present profound lessons about self-worth, boundaries, resilience, and the importance of protecting your peace. By asking yourself what you've learned, you begin to extract meaning from the pain, transforming negative experiences into powerful insights. For example, you might realize that you allowed a toxic person to overstep your boundaries because you feared conflict, or that you stayed in a relationship out of a desire to fix someone else. These realizations can help you recognize your vulnerabilities and develop stronger emotional boundaries in the future. By internalizing these lessons, you empower yourself to make wiser decisions moving forward. Another critical aspect of reflection is considering how you can apply these insights to future relationships. In light of your experience, you might feel more confident in recognizing red flags early on. Or perhaps you've learned the importance of trusting your intuition when something doesn't feel right. Reflection can help you create a clearer picture of the kind of relationships you want to cultivate. Relationships built on mutual respect, emotional support, and shared values. By applying the wisdom gained from past experiences, you position yourself to attract healthier, more fulfilling connections. Finally, reflection through Stoic practice teaches us the importance of compassion, both for ourselves and others. Understanding that everyone is on their own journey with their own struggles and limitations helps us approach future relationships with empathy and wisdom. While toxic relationships are never acceptable, Stoic reflection encourages us to understand that our growth often emerges from facing these challenges. It's through these tests that we refine our character, strengthen our sense of self, and develop the emotional maturity necessary to build healthy, lasting connections. In conclusion, reflection is one of the most powerful tools in the Stoic approach to personal growth and healing after a toxic relationship. By engaging in thoughtful introspection, journaling, and asking ourselves key questions, we transform difficult experiences into opportunities for growth. Reflection enables us to learn from the past, gain wisdom, and apply those insights to future relationships, ultimately leading to a life that is more aligned with our values and purpose. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action, What stands in the way becomes the way. By reflecting on what we've endured, we can turn obstacles into stepping stones on our journey toward greater wisdom, peace, and emotional resilience. In conclusion, toxic relationships are undoubtedly challenging, but the timeless wisdom of Stoicism offers powerful tools to navigate them with resilience and clarity. By focusing on what you can control, your mindset, actions, and emotional responses, you can maintain your peace and protect your well-being. Stoicism reminds us to set firm boundaries, practice emotional detachment, and always prioritize our personal growth over toxic dynamics. If these Stoic strategies resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights on how to live a life of strength and serenity. Share this video with anyone who could benefit, and let's spread the power of resilience and wisdom together. Thank you for watching, and may your journey toward peace and empowerment continue.